I'm just so excited to talk about the future of recognition. I know it's been an action-packed couple of days, so I'm going to keep this session very, very focused. And I also want to be clear about expectations. I could talk about some random stats or random theory, but we're most excited about is I'd love to give you a sneak peek into what's next at Bucketlist Rewards. We're going to be showing some of our newest and soon-to-be released features from our product roadmap. What's cool about these is I suspect even if you don't use Bucketlist, I think there's going to be a lot of cool ideas that you can incorporate into your own recognition program, whether it's manual or something else. And so with that, I'd love to get into it. So we're going to be talking about the 4 key innovations of the future of recognition. I'm going to be talking about how recognition can drive results. We're also going to be talking about how to catch people in their moments of greatness instantly. We'll walk through some massive updates to our reward catalog. And lastly, we're going to show you how we can help with employer branding and recruitment. Okay. This slide's really interesting, and I wanted to present it to you because what's the future based upon? Again, this isn't theory. This isn't navel gazing. We've really done our homework. We've had a ton of customer conversations over the past few quarters. We've been also analyzing the data from our more than 350,000 users. And everything I'm going to be showing you today is based upon what our customers have been saying. And I'm just so excited to hear what you have to say about these new features we have planned. In fact, I'm going to be inviting your participation shortly. So in these customer conversations, as we've been chatting to HR leaders, what have we been hearing? First, I want to say HR leaders are under more pressure than ever before to deliver value, to show ROI in the programs that they're implementing. We've also heard that people leaders, HR leaders are spinning multiple plates and you're responsible for delivering a ton of results, including recruiting A players, getting people onboarded and productive right away. You need to keep your team engaged, retained. You need to get them performing. And on top of all that, you have to deal with the daily admin that comes from being a people leader. Down at the bottom there, I have that little question in yellow. Can anybody relate to this? I think I see about 140 people on the call. Anybody want to type in the chat window? Does anybody feel these pain points being a people leader? So Medina says yes. Is she the only one? There we go. Yeah. Sorry. I've asked this in live events, and what I've done in the live events that I've asked everybody just to put up their hand, and normally 90 to 95% of the room pops up their hand. And so a lot of you certainly feel the pain. Joy, Ariana, Katrina. So thank you for the honesty. What I'm really excited about to say is at Bucketlist, we're genuinely here to help. Becca has organized this multi-day event strictly with the intent to educate people leaders to help people do a better job with recognition programs. And at Bucketlist specifically, our newest features are designed to help people leaders and companies achieve your goals. And then simultaneously, we want to be really easy to use. So what does that look like? What does the future look like? Let's get into it. As I mentioned up front, we're going to be talking about the 4 key innovations of the future of recognition. And as we go through and share these features, I would love to invite your feedback and hear what your thoughts are. So please feel free to share your thoughts in the chat window. And as I said earlier, there'll be a few questions we're going to be inviting you to participate as we go along. Okay, so let's talk about results-driven recognition. So it's so fascinating to me. Historically, when HR leaders wanted to create a recognition program, they often had to come up with their own list of recognition and reward ideas by searching Google. So maybe you're, for example, an HR leader of a hospital. You might search for something like how to build an effective healthcare recognition program. Or maybe you could talk to an HR leader or even perhaps attend a workshop like today's event. The problem is that this approach is often time-consuming and very error-prone. So statistically, this old method of creating a recognition program hasn't been working. What I find super interesting is the majority of companies have a recognition program. Almost 94% of companies have a recognition program. However, if you ask HR leaders, are they happy with the results of the program? Almost 70% of companies say they consider the recognition program to be ineffective. And why are people leaders saying their program's ineffective? They say that the program's manual, it's being run in spreadsheets, it's taking a lot of time and effort and resources to keep it up and running. They often have low utilization. They describe that these programs are hard to use, and most importantly, they fail to deliver results. So uh, after all these conversations, what have we heard? We've heard that companies really want a plug-and-play solution that delivers results. And I'm so excited to talk about the first feature today. I'm super excited to talk about this idea of bundles. It's designed to do a lot of the hard thinking for you. So what is bundles? It's a catalog of pre-built rewards specifically designed for your industry. We've created the awards from industry best practices and by looking at our more than 300,000 users and seeing what was most effective for them. The rewards are designed to help you achieve your goals and your objectives. So how does this particular feature work? Over on the right, you can see a little drop down. And with bundles inside a bucket list, you're able to search by industry. And for example, you can search currently by finance, healthcare, manufacturing, and tech. We're also adding a ton of other options. And in this example, you can see I selected healthcare. And when you select your industry, our platform will recommend a ton of different rewards that might be useful for your specific organization. So for example, over on the left-hand side, one of the first recommendations is a safety reward. And it also gives you some context there. So a well-deployed safety reward can see a decrease of 22% in the number of safety incidences and savings of roughly $2.8 million for every 10,000 employees working at your organization. So if you're a healthcare company and you want to help improving your safety standards, you should definitely consider a safety award. We also make recommendations like Nurse Appreciation Week, where we can streamline all of that hard work and automatically deliver cool rewards that your team will appreciate. And down at the bottom, you can see Patient Care Award. On screen only can show 3 rewards, but with bundles, we recommend a fairly extensive list, a really robust list that you can sort through and choose from amongst. So what's been cool with bundles is it's not just a concept. We've done a ton of testing with bundles and we've seen some genuinely impressive results. And I'd love to share those with you now. So I have 3 quick stories I wanted to walk you through. The first story I wanted to share is about how we can increase employee retention. We had a financial services company reach out to us. And when we first chatted with them, they're getting a lot of feedback from their staff that they wanted more recognition. Before working with us, before working with Bucketlist, their annual turnover rate was 30%. So, they have 100 employees, they lose 30%, 30 of those employees each year. We helped them roll out a recognition program, and over a 2-year period, their voluntary turnover dropped from 21% down to 9%. That's a huge performance improvement. It saved them a ton of money and time recruiting, and ultimately they're now keeping more A players. At a 100-person company, this would equate to around a $200,000 a year savings because they get to keep all these great staff members on their team. Next, I wanted to highlight how we've been able to help companies drive up employee engagement. One of our clients, the Doctors of BC, was able to increase their employee engagement from 76% up to 86%. And when employees feel engaged, they're excited about showing up for work, they're more productive, they're happier, and these types of organizations are more likely to win Great Places to Work awards. And then lastly, I want to talk about how we can even help companies drive and increase revenue. We've been working with an accounting firm, and using our bundles feature, they set up a customer referral program. In the first month, they received 41 new customer referrals. And for an average financial services company, this would equate to around $45,000 in revenue in the first 30 days. So you can see bundles is having a huge impact for our customers, is really moving the needle. So how can bundles help your organization? It's a really dynamic new feature. It can help you achieve your HR goals, whether that's with recruiting, whether that's lowering turnover or increasing employee engagement. And what we're super excited about is it can even help you achieve your company goals, whether that's to drive up sales, improve customer service, or even safety standards. I would love to invite just a little bit of audience participation here, if that's okay. Maybe in the chat window, if you're okay with it, maybe just type something into the chat window that you'd like to do better inside of your organization. And I'll give you a second here to type that in. And feel free to draw from the examples on the screen, or if you prefer, feel free to type in something totally new. I'll give you a second there. So Stacy wrote in the chat window that she wants to lower turnover. I don't think you're alone in that. There's probably a lot of people in attendance who want to lower turnover. Juan wants to recruit A players. I see an item about increasing engagement, recruiting more A players. Yeah, Melissa, regular productivity in the workplace. Help. Oh, awesome. Thank you, team. So there's a heavy focus on increasing engagement and decreasing turnover. So in summary, if you're interested in learning more about this whole bundles concept, and I can see certainly many of you have this goal or pain point, the team at Bucketlist, we're all about adding value. And at the end, I'll kind of share some ideas on how we can help you solve these pain points. Thank you so much for sharing that, though. I really do appreciate that. Okay, next we're going to talk about the importance of catching employees in their moment of greatness. So we frequently hear from managers that they have these large teams, and these teams are doing a ton of great work. However, there's so much stuff happening that leaders are often unsure who to recognize, or more importantly, senior leaders are prone to missing these moments of greatness. So I wanted to talk about another feature that's coming very soon that we're calling Culture Coach. In summary, Culture Coach will automatically notify you when your staff do amazing work so you can recognize and reward them. And I want to give you an example. Let's say you have an employee named Dan who's working in your radiology department of your hospital. And in this example, Dan catches an abnormality in a patient scan and potentially saves somebody's life. Now, if you're a senior leader at that hospital, you're going to want to know about this and you're going to want to thank this team member. And with Culture Coach, we'll instantly pop it up, either text messaging, email, we'll surface it in your communication tool of your choice. And you can upvote this, you can recognize Dan, you can make him feel appreciated for this outstanding achievement. And of course, you can really bring this alive in a weekly huddle or a recognition ceremony. What's super interesting about this story is Dan is in fact a real person. Although we did change his name to protect his privacy, and Dan did save a life. In this case, the leadership team at their hospital heard about the story through a quarterly recognition event that ran as a part of their Bucketlist program, and they nominated Dan for Caregiver of the Year award. What's even cooler is the patient came back to present this award. Up on screen are some real photos. On the left, you can see Dan. On the right, you can see the patient that he saved the life of. What was really sweet is Dan used this recognition and reward to buy some new golf clubs, so he's able to enjoy a bit of time on the golf course. And he's now taking off his bucket list item of playing one new golf course per month in the summertime. So what I wanted to communicate here is that you don't want to miss these moments of greatness. And with bucket lists, we're going to make it easier than ever before to capture these. Maybe one more audience participation moment. I'd love to invite you to type your answer into the chat window here. I'd love to hear from you, the participants. Have you ever missed an important employee moment? For example, have you ever missed a big employee milestone, maybe a 10-year, 20-year, 50-year anniversary? I can see Dawn jump in with the honesty here. She says yes. I got to come in too and say I've done it as well. I'm the CEO of a recognition company, and I've had these moments where I missed something really, really important, and I never want to do that again. So with a culture coach, we're going to help you avoid that. And we're also going to make you aware of all the amazing work in your organization. All right, let's talk about something pretty fun and kind of near and dear to my heart, which is our rewards catalog. So when it comes to recognition, obviously the recognition moment is insanely important, but the rewards can certainly add some fuel to the fire. So at Bucketlist, we've recently launched just a ton of new rewards. In fact, we've added hundreds of thousands of rewards to our catalog, and it continues to grow rapidly. What's really cool is we're going beyond the traditional rewards by helping employees achieve their personal and professional dreams. So we'll be adding more bucket list experiences. We're going to be adding career development opportunities. There's going to be a heavy focus on employee development and unique rewards that are meaningful to the employee. So in summary, we are a fully global and fully customizable catalog. And of course, Bucketlist isn't our name, and we're excited to say we're building out an experience, a newer and improveder experiential catalog. We've added in a load of new experiences, working with our partners like Vidor, Version Experiences, and Get Your Guide. And of course, we'll continue to maintain a huge number of hand-curated rewards as well. So I want to talk about something else small, but I think significant. There's one pain point we've heard of that we wanted to address. Frequently, we've heard that leaders are unsure of what to reward their employees with. They want to reward employees with something cool and that matters to them, but they don't know what that thing is. And so we've developed this little feature that'll help you solve for that. So what we've done is we're adding a feature where staff can save rewards to their favorite lists. So as a manager, so you can look at an employee's profile and instantly see a list of rewards that they want. So for example, up on screen, we see a pretty cool selection of ideas. These are from our existing rewards catalog. There's things like adding 8 hours of vacation to your bank, or maybe it's 2 VIP passes to Coachella. Maybe it's driving a supercar. You can see a pretty wide selection of rewards up there. And to be honest, like, I don't know what one person might want versus another person might want. And let's say you have a young employee named Parker who's been doing just an amazing job. Historically, the only way to know what Parker wants would be to ask him, which would, of course, ruin the surprise and take time and effort. With the favorites feature, with the favorites feature, for example, Parker could save the Ferrari experience to his list. And the next time that he knocks it out of the park, you, the manager, can make that dream come true. And there's a lot of power in making someone's dream come true. So Parker is a real guy, and his dream was to drive a Ferrari. On screen, you can see the quote from Parker. And a couple of things I wanted to highlight in the quote is that this is something that he's wanted to do since a teenager, and that he's never felt so supported by a company in his life. And then lastly, this is something that he told his friends and family about. And I can say from firsthand experience, I saw this get shared all over social media. So it's a great way to build goodwill inside your organization. And it's also a great way to build a fantastic employer brand. And then lastly, I just want to touch on employer branding. This is kind of a fun one. So we just saw about the power of employer branding, that when you recognize and reward an employee in a meaningful way, they are very likely to share that moment on social media. What we're going to do is we're going to empower the administrators of our platform to scroll through all the cool stuff that they're seeing and to share those on social media platforms like LinkedIn and X. And what's the ROI of employer branding? Basically, companies with a strong employer brand see a 43% reduction in cost per hire. So there's a huge ROI associated with it. So that was a quick snapshot, a quick highlight reel into some of the things we have coming next. There is a much longer list of items we'll be showcasing in the near term. But these are just some of the cool things that I couldn't wait to get in front of you, the viewer. So in summary, some of the things we just reviewed is we went over bundles, which was rewards with results. We talked about Culture Coach and making recognition easy. We talked about our massively improved catalog and making dreams come true. And then lastly, we talked a bit about employer branding.